I lost trust in other people quite young.
People are very two-faced in the world, and I don't really trust anybody.
Well, even up to ninth grade, I think I had 2 charges of assault or something.
As he would put, and as he has stated, I was going nowhere, spinning out of control.
Hanging out with the wrong people, started smoking weed, I did coke.
I actually took him down to the police station. I took him down to juvenile detention center, and I was going to turn him over to the state.
Folks are waking up to the fact that everybody knows a boy who's struggling.
When I was little, I always told my mom, "Where's my dad? I want my dad. How come I don't have a dad and everybody else does?"
When I was 6, I found out my dad was dead. I wasn't told how really until 7th grade. I figured out he pretty much blew his brains out with a shotgun.
And when he was referred in 10th grade, frankly, I am surprised he made it that far, you know, of the baggage this kid has had.
At some deep level, we just don't get, we talk about it, but we don't get how soul poisoning it is to be lonely for that love and attention, and all you have to turn to is this kind of nothingness of values.
I think that we are neglecting our boys tremendously. I think that because the media, the video games, the televisions are such convenient babysitters, that it is so easy for all of us to kind of turn over our boys to those screens. The average boy in the United States, school age, spends 1/2 hour a week in one-to-one conversation with their fathers.
We as a larger culture have alienated them and said, "You are so different and you are so unique and we are so afraid of you that we won't welcome you with the gifts you have to offer us right now." We've got to, as mentors and as adult members of our community, be a lot more embracing and welcoming. We'll be less fearful if we do that.
One of the most important issues that our civilization faces, this industrial civilization, one of the most important issues it faces is the issue of the father. And systemically, many of our problems will not be solved until we solve this issue.
Back about 2 years ago is pretty much what I call a summer of transition. The year that just got out, I was getting like straight Fs. The next year I had straight A's.
So it kind of all three came together at just the perfect timing, where he was introduced to church, he was introduced to Boys to Men, and also introduced to special ed for extra help.
I don't know, somewhere in that time period, I guess I really changed. In September, I did my first staffing on a Boys to Men weekend.
You can see it in their eyes when they go through the weekend, and you know, when they walk in from their ROPA and when they walk out, they took it. There's a step there. There's a step process. It's an initiation.
Pretty much, it's a rites of passage into manhood from boyhood.
It's a group of men, a large group of men that are giving it back. And it's available in different places down there. It's available in churches, and it's available in Boy Scouts. It's available in different community organizations. But it's not, nobody's got it all packaged together, where we do the mentor training, where we teach the men how to do it, where we bring the boys and the men all together and form a community. And let the boys tell the truth, let the men tell the truth, and then where we get together every 2 weeks and continue that. Take a few seconds to ground yourself and feel the release of telling this story. I mean, every time I tell my story, I feel better. The role of a man today that's being portrayed to them is wrong. And that a man does not stuff his emotions, and that a man that cries is a good man, and a man I want to know. That's the message they need to get from this. It's okay for a man to cry. It's okay for a man to show his emotions, because they don't get that anyplace else. When they hear men tell the truth about themselves like they've never heard before, and see how much better they feel afterwards, and they start doing it and they get it. Oh, I need to tell the truth about myself.
You know, this is the time when you guys get to choose what kind of men you want to be, how you're going to show up in the world. Because I tell you what, when you guys leave here, you're going back into families. And what happened here this weekend is going to affect them too.
When I first came to Boys to Men, I was not in the best condition emotionally. I probably had a 60-degree hump on my back at one point.
I started noticing he'd sit up more. Just it was just his posture I noticed, and you know, he'd joke around a little bit more. He'd have opinion on what kind of music, and he'd want to know who is this of the music. I listen to oldies music. He's like, who is this? Who is this Sgt. Pepper's song? I've heard it before. Who is? I was like, let me tell you about the Beatles, boy. Come here, you know.
It took a while because I didn't really know him. At first, I thought it was just some guy that I didn't even know I don't really give a fuck about. But now it's like he's pretty close to me.
Joe, in a lot of times, had an ugly reflection of himself. And when he dealt with his family, when he dealt with his father, when he dealt with his school, he'd kind of throw himself out there. Whenever he came back, was distorted and ugly, and that's how he saw himself. And I'm seeing these positive qualities in him, all this strength and the courage and these things that can do wonderful things. And by doing those things, listening, accepting, admiring, I want to kind of be a mirror in which he sees himself in a different way, in a positive way. As soon as you get involved, instead of it being something where you're doing something for someone else, you find out all kinds of stuff about your own self.
After then, I saw a big change in myself. I'm not as negative as I used to be, and I actually put a little more thought into things. I realized that I gotta start caring, otherwise things ain't gonna happen the way they should.
Just seeing young kids in the street, I used to have kind of that common reaction where I'd see some kids and say, well, those look like bad kids, period. You know, well, those kids are kind of scary looking. And now I don't do that so much anymore. I said, well, those kids look like they're having issues or having trouble, but there's a sympathy that starts with that.
It has completely changed the way I look at adolescent boys and the way I remember my past, my growing up. And now I just love being around them.
There's still good people on this planet. You can be one of those good people. They're willing to show you how to be one. I see myself going somewhere, probably become a mentor, so I can do what other people have done for me. I can see myself having a future now, and before I didn't.
If we could get all this working, and we could apply these tools and apply all this wonderful wisdom that's out there about raising males, if we could do that, what we're going to end up doing is actually raising a generation of males that will shock and surprise us. All the things we want of them, we will get it because we focus on them as males. And we understand what the male soul, what the male mind, what a boy's mind and soul really needs. If we get the love and nurturing that we need, that's the generation of males we're going to have.